Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 128. It is Friday today here in Cincinnati. It is warming up. The snow is going to be melting. The sun is shining. I think we're headed to 50 degrees by Sunday. Oh, Cincinnati. The weather is such a topic of conversation here because it's changing all the time and it's so unpredictable. We never know what it's going to do. So I find it highly amusing that it is how I open all of these podcasts is by talking about the weather. It's so good. It is Friday. I am hosting a new moon circle tonight, and then we have a spacious weekend of just catching up on some projects and doing things around the house. And it feels, as my puppy just sighed, it feels like, just a chance to exhale after the schedules have been so disrupted this week. In an amazing way, we've had 3 snow days in a row and lots of extra family time and time at home together and more rest than normal. It's been really, really good. So when I was preparing for today's podcast, the topic of yesterday was switching gears was still on my mind, and this word merging came through. So it's funny because sometimes when I get a title, I go back and look at the titles of the previous podcasts. I'm like, did we already talk about that? Or have we covered that title? And I had emerging, which is so fun when you compare the words emerging versus merging. Emerging out of a cocoon or out of a phase into an evolution that's bigger versus merging. So here's how it has been coming through for me, and I'll just share it and you can see what resonates for you. When we go through expansions in our journey, for me, I'll speak for myself. Last weekend for me was so beautiful because there was so much love and play and support and family time, and it really felt like a celebration of my birth. And many of my birthdays, it's either been busy or there's been some sadness around the age or the events that have been going on in my life. And so the birthdays have been sort of mixed here or there. Some are awesome and some are, not so great. And this year, I was so present and I really was able to receive so much love into my heart, into my soul, in a way that I don't believe I've been able to receive before. And I've had experiences like this before, sometime, not to the extent of this one with how many beautiful people I love were with me, but I've been in deep meditation before and just felt that extreme wash of just appreciation for life and, just that flood of love that I feel from Source or God, just the gift, of being here in a physical body. I've had many, many moments like that. I've attended ceremonies where, there's been a lot of sound healing and breath work and healing work, and you're able to access a consciousness or a connection with life force, with your soul, in a way that in our everyday activities we can't always access. And what has felt so different for me this week as I've come through this expansion of receiving so much love, I have the sense it's a rebirth in a way. Even though it was on my birthday, it's like this rebirth of a bigger version of myself, a more visible version of myself, more of my soul speaking than has been allowed a stage before. And when I have experienced large expansions or big shifts in my consciousness in the past, the integration of it sometimes is easy, and then sometimes it's very sudden or abrupt. The titles like BC and AD keep coming forward. When the life of Jesus Christ was measured, there was the time before Jesus Christ and the time after Jesus Christ. And so all of time was divided in religion based on the life of this one individual, this one spiritual being. And so there's a before and an after. And I kept feeling that, when I went through my divorce, there was a before and an after. And when we get married, there's a before and an after. When we have a child, there's life before that event and then life after that event. And sometimes we try to separate from the phase of life we were in before. So after a divorce, it's like we excommunicate anything that ever was connected to that former partner of ours. Even though at one time we treasured and loved that partner, because there's an ending, we just completely separate from that experience and that relationship. And so, there are these ways that we move through expansions that are very definitive, and I was this way and now I'm this way. What I have been feeling this week is the opposite of that. It's this merging of all that I've ever been before. I have been married twice. I have these beautiful children, and I was also a woman before I had children, and I was a daughter from the moment I was birthed into my mother, into her arms, into my father's arms. There's this merging of everything I've ever been and accepting all of it. And when we are loved in such a big way by those around us, when we're in a relationship with people that we trust and we feel their arms around us and they are just loving us with this unconditional outpouring of, I just think you're incredible, I can't believe you exist, the fact that you exist is just amazing to me. When we can feel that and receive it, for me, when I received lots and lots and lots of love, and my heart was finally ready to receive that much love, when I could sit in conversations and see myself reflected in the person across from me and know, like, they really, really do get me, and they're right here loving me, there's a self-acceptance and integration that lets us see everything we've ever done in our lives has been perfect. Even if we judged it or thought it was wrong or it created an ending, everything we've moved through in our lives has just been this beautiful learning and merging into more and more and more of who we're here to be. And so there's no need to separate or disconnect from any part of our lives. I've had that reflected to me this week with a beautiful session with someone who is going through a divorce, and I could see in her how I was in that moment when I was going through the process of a divorce, and how it has you feel like everything is ending and you want to separate from everything that is ending. I hope this is making sense. The merging of all that we have ever been in our entire life's journey is such an incredible gift, to not need to separate from any experience we've ever created. It just brings this peace and this acceptance that we're right where we're supposed to be. When I picture a merging sign, like a traffic sign, it shows it from both directions, right? It shows the merging if you're in the main lane and there's a little lane coming in from an entrance ramp. It'll show you that before you reach that marker. It'll also show you in the little entrance ramp that you're about to merge with a big road. And so both ways you're aware that you're about to have this merging of traffic into one stream of energy moving forward. I feel like sometimes in my own journey, and I'm sure for many of us, we see the sign, but we don't quite get what it means. We're just traveling along our road, and we kind of have a little awareness that something's going to shift, and there's going to be a merging that's going to happen. And so we're kind of aware it's going to happen. And then suddenly this car crashes into us, or this relationship crashes into us, or this experience, this divorce creates a sudden stop of an ending, and we think we're on the wrong road. We think we've made a mistake. We think we did a U-turn, or we took the right and we should have taken the left. This idea of merging is every experience that we're having in our lives is merging into this one continuous flow, which is our journey. And everything that comes in is just an experience that arrives. So the relationship comes in, and then we see how we engage with that and what happens and what we learn, and maybe we keep traveling together down the same road, or maybe that person takes an exit ramp and leaves. And we still keep going, and that merge that happened is now part of us. It's not separate. It didn't not happen. It happened. And so it's this merging of all experiences. And as we continue moving forward in our lives, in our journey, we're taking up more room. Our roads are getting wider because there's more of us, more experiences, more moments, more awareness, more knowledge, more. And we just keep flowing forward, and more keeps merging and coming in, and we keep expanding. Seeing it from that perspective just brings me this feeling of grace, like there's no wrong. Everything that I have been doing in these 48 years of my life has been good, and I've made what I would call mistakes, and yet they're not mistakes, because all of those experiences have brought me to right here. And right here in this moment, I love who I am. I love the relationships in my life. I love the life I'm living. I am abundantly blessed and grateful and overflowing with joy that I am here. And that's the whole point, is that everything we're doing is bringing us into moments where we are in love with this life. Yeah, this merging sign, it just feels like it's bringing me peace, peace that I'm right where I want to be. What a beautiful way to go into a weekend. And a new moon on Monday. With infinite peace. Thank you for tuning in to today's vibration. Let's take this message of pure love out into all of our communities and continue expanding love here on Gaia. So much love from my heart to yours.